Ready.
Okay. All right, we're going to do this a little untraditionally because I'm a chick and you're a chick. So let's talk female first. Okay, so let's talk about direction. First of all, we talk about lots of things at my panels that help other people, other actors, other filmmakers, etc. So the number one thing I want to start off with is obviously you're in a relationship with the person you're doing a movie with. Is that challenging? Meaning that even if you love someone, they can literally step over your own feet. You know what I'm talking about? How do I tell them this? How do I say this? Are they going to take it wrong? Talk a bit about that whole relationship dynamic, and does it affect the process of filming?
Well, we definitely. Well, is this on? Hello. Is that on? Okay.
Use ours.
Let me use that. Stephen and I have a really good way of communicating with each other, and we said from the very beginning that we have to keep those lines of communication very tight because we are dealing with a bunch of actors, and you know, there's a lot. This is our first time directing as well together. We've never done a project, but we do have the same style, we have the same taste. We wrote this together, we directed it together. I didn't really do it by myself, we did do it together. And yeah, I mean, there were moments where, you know, we were on a time crunch, and we shot this in just a couple of days.
Right.
And we were assigned these actors. So we also had to fit each actor with each character too. So there were a lot of challenges and on set and everything, but we are just such a good team, and we were just able to get through it, and we communicate with one another. And I think the time crunch was the only thing that where we were at with each other sometimes, but that was just because we were on a time crunch. That was it, really, I would say.
Yeah, well, if I could jump in, it's a good segue to, I mean, there's a reason they call it a film challenge.
Yeah.
It was a film challenge, it was a fucking challenge, excuse my friend. But what's very important is that when we got handed the actors, we only had the idea, which comes from Kim's heart and her Choose It family, and we had to custom write the script in 2 days to each actor. We only had the concept of family, not having family, and we added the element, which is not happening in most people's lives, that where you're not reuniting with your family. You've lost your family, and you're looking for people in your life. So you have to let those people in. The spin on this film is that they were blessed at the end that they actually got to reunite with their father. So when we got handed the actors, we only had the concept of not having family and wanting to add all of the elements, and we had to write this script in 2 days, and we incorporated the elements that were handed to us. Like Heap, who was the horse trainer, he actually owns horses and is on the circuit and is in Saratoga right now and runs horses. So I said, "You want horses, and we could shoot at Belmont?" All right, so Justin owns a horse, and that's what I said. The magic of this film. That's how it happened. Every character we just threw in. That's my attorney's office. I said, all right, so Justin has to be a jerk. We have to have the conflict between what's going on, and now we have to make him a high-powered. He's a lawyer because I have an entertainment lawyer, and we could use our lawyer's office. And so we wrote it in 2 days. So it was just a concept of family. And that's the magic of this film. We didn't cast this film. We wrote to each person to fit them into this concept. And I think that's the magic that happened with this film. We didn't get the cast. We didn't have 2 weeks. We did it in 2 days, and we used what was handed to us. That's, I think, the special beauty. And all the actors did an amazing, amazing job in what we gave them and what they gave us. Actually, what they gave us. So sorry to take that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Now, obviously, you both acted in a dual role in terms of directing. So if I were to ask you, is his strength on the acting side or the directing side, or is it relatively balanced out on both sides of the fence?
It's definitely balanced, but I'd say I think as a director, he's fantastic. Actor, of course, but you know he's handed these auditions and these roles and stuff. So I think with his own something he would write himself and write, direct, and produce. I think he's even greater in those kind of projects. Yeah, I think he's a great director. I think he's fantastic, and he's an amazing actor, of course. He can play any role, but I really feel the directing.
$50 in this for you.
I really feel the directing because he's
I'm
such a
hearing the
creative
amazing just
person.
over and over. Amazing.
He's just
Amazing.
very creative, and I think having.
I already love you. You can say.
Okay.
Well, and if memory serves me right, Stephen just got cast for, what was that again?
Shot. I'm sorry I couldn't be here Thursday night. I
'Cause
was
you-
on the Deuce, and we shot at night, so I was going to be here, but I had to go to Washington Heights 9 o'clock
To
Thursday
do-
night to do a co-star
And then
on the
before
Deuce.
that, it was what?
I know. Well, I booked Blue Bloods, so I have to go next week. Yes.
So that would make you,
That would make me so blessed and humble after 7 months of quicksand. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you to her for keeping me afloat for 7 months. Yeah.
well, you may want to remember that you're here too.
I will never forget this August. Next month I'm going to be 50, so that was part of the midlife crisis thing that put me in the toilet water right after this film. Even though this film was magical and my editor donated his time, and we did this for less than $2,000. This whole thing, which I find just like
God,
being
yeah.
in this business,
Sure.
I just find amazing because we had the gift of amazing people in our circle that believed in us and everybody, and even the actors contributed in this film challenge. You know what I mean? So financially, so I just honestly, I'm so. And we're not submitting the film because at the end I'm gonna, which I shouldn't hex what's happened yesterday and what has been happening, but I'm going to share it here just because it's been August has been the most magical month of my life so far, honestly, and we're going to share something great. So keep going. So thank you for having us here. We're not submitting to any more festivals, but we submitted to this. We figured it's New York. It was a great opportunity. We're glad you accepted the film, so we could, we could be right here and talk to some of the people that I know and I've worked with here. There's a handful of people, awesome actors here that I was hoping they'd be here today, and we can just share this moment before the future of this film. Hopefully, will go on the road that it's on right now. That we're really excited about. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So.
Goodness. Oh, yeah. Now he's getting
Which you
big
can't
deep cry.
record. It will
Tell me when to
turn off
cut.
at the very
Tell me
end.
when to cut.
Are you pregnant? I just had to do it. It's
something-
either that or.
No, not at all.
Oh, God, I got it. All right, back to that interview now. Okay, so let's talk about its direction a little bit, because obviously we have fellow filmmakers in the room and actors, etc. So because of the fact that you had such a time crunch, that obviously is a complication right there. Second of all, you're directing different actors, different times, different locations, etc. So talk a bit about what it was like working with Eric, because obviously that's the other side of the fence over here. Amazing. First of all, you don't have your beard.
No.
I was kind of like in culture shock. Like,
Doesn't he
who is
look
this
so
guy?
different?
Like, I don't even know you. I'm
Yeah.
like, where's that guy in the poster? Because I don't know who you are. But I'm like, that was so. Was that something that you guys had come up with, that obviously he should look that way? Did you pencil that
Yeah,
whole
we wanted to leave
persona?
a little mystery to
Yeah, when I met Eric for coffee, Eric was the co-leader of our team as well, and there's some folks here that are part of AGR, and I have to thank them because AGR does a lot of great things for actors, and I just dove in and I said to her, I'm gonna volunteer to be a team leader, and although I've written and I have a bunch of projects over the years that nothing never was just complete, and I said, even though I think I'm at my best actually when I'm just overwhelmed, when I have the energy to handle it, and I did, and I just lost everything like the moment this was finished. And Eric was a great co-leader, thank goodness, and we got handed, this great. We got blessed with every actor was really talented, and so when I met with Eric, he looked like that, and I said, how can he be? He had the best look to be, and was the elder of the team, and I said he has the best look to be the homeless person, and one of the first things I said, Eric, you're gonna stop shaving right now. Otherwise, this isn't gonna work.
How long did it take you to get the whole growth? How long was it?
3 or 4 weeks, because they don't give you a lot of time to put these
Well,
films
that's
together.
what I mean.
It was,
Yeah.
it was like the second week of November until that we shot that the first week of December. So
Okay, I got
that's
you.
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were able to do that. And then did they say the whole look and it, you know, from the top to the bottom? Because obviously, of course, we all see you and you've got the card, you've got that specific look, and you're wearing the same clothes, etc. Did you have any input on that, or did they just basically carve you out and say, "Now go act"?
He mentioned some like wardrobe pieces that maybe I should bring, but I think all of it was provided by them. Maybe the pants were mine, but everything else was provided by them. And the beard, of course.
that was
mine.
part of the magic. It was like no time. I walked into. We live in Astoria.
That was
I
the beauty of it. We were picking things out. We went. That was
We
so
went.
fun
I
for
went
us
one
to
day.
do
I
that.
called. I
Yeah.
went one day. I called her. I stopped in the there's like an Army Navy type thing on Ditmars Boulevard where we live. I walked in. I walked right over to the rack and I saw all of those clothes like. And I said, holy shit, here's why it's closed. And I called her, I took pictures, I said, I found why it's closed, I can't believe it. It only cost us $20.
Wow.
and then we went and we just, it was that kind of magic that just happened. It really, it was
Picking out the
magic.
card.
Throughout,
Remember the card?
we were going to, we were just went and we found that card at CBS, like in the 11th hour, but we had no time. It was like the night before we were filming.
Yeah.
We went to CBS. And there's not a great selection of cards at CBS, and we found that card in the rack, and we were like, we picked it up, and I'm like, oh, shit. And like that was just, we were just gifted all of those things like that easy with the time constraints.
One
So
might
that's-
almost wonder it was like a sign.
Yeah,
Lots
it
of
was.
signs.
No, really, it was just really magic. Really, the whole thing was
Oh, of
just.
course,
we were-
absolutely.
We just got on the carpet and wrote it, throughout that.
Everything just kept
process.
falling into place too.
I'm curious, how many of you in the audience here, how many of you figured it out before the end?
A little bit.
I did too. I literally did.
Where?
I was like, I know it, I know
I
it.
need to ask you a question. Where? What point made you say that he's the dad?
When he saw the
When he looked at the picture.
When he saw the picture.
Where?
The one mantle.
No, earlier when he had the picture in the car.
When he was looking at the. Okay. Okay.
Because he had that connection, she kept going back for a reason. There was a reason.
Did it ruin it for you, or did it make you say, I just can't wait to see how this,
I couldn't wait to see how she would find
Okay.
out.
Cool. Okay.
No, I liked it. Yeah.
And I was
liked that.
curious about that, meaning, again, that comes back to the writing, first of all, because any good idea comes from that story. So when you wrote it, did you know automatically that you either wanted to? It would seem almost logical that at some point we would all figure out that he is who he is. But did you think that you could maintain somewhat of a secret? Because you did for a while. I mean, obviously for the first half of the film, I wasn't thinking anything. I was like, he's going on this path, da 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 da. So were you hoping no one would figure it out, or did you just kind of guess that this
Well,
would
that's
be
the
the natural
trick
order
of
of things?
editing. That's
Right.
really the trick of it all. And he actually had a big part to do with the editing. But you were the one that did the editing, so just explain.
Well, we were hoping that, obviously, you don't want to give away the film, and there was something about when we shot, and we were like, Eric, look at this picture. There was something that needed to be in the film, showing his pain.
Right.
And I personally wasn't worried that people would figure it out from that picture, and if they are, I was hoping that it wouldn't just be like, all right, now I go to the bathroom. Now I'm in. I need to see how this ends. But I personally, for me, that everyone's different. That wouldn't have given. And I would try to look at it from an outsider, and it's very hard when you're editing and you're shooting. And we shot a lot of extra footage that we could go. We didn't have to do that, but I just. When we were talking about that, we thought it was very important that Eric be looking at, because we had to see a man who's, being spit on and
Right.
being homeless is painful enough, but you really needed to feel for his character so deeply, and having him look at his wife. We don't know, obviously he lost, but then at the end you know what happened. He lost her to cancer, and the last thing he did was write that card and then lose his mind, and go have a breakdown. But
That's what I thought was.
I'm glad it didn't ruin it. I
Oh,
just
no.
thought that would be a special
Yeah.
added piece to feel his pain.
It seems like they both parallel pain, because obviously you have both levels. Your character, you have the same sort of thing going on. It's very, very parallel in a good way. Although you're much more bitter, you're much more angry. I see a lot of this anger and aggression, and I'm like, you played that so well. I was like, you really had to dig deep for that, because you're a nice guy. I'm like, it just seemed like the all.
I'm not really. I'm really a jerk. You
Are you gonna kill
can
me?
ask this kid.
No, but you know what I mean? I mean, right away you're like, come on, man. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a dick in the first 5 seconds. I'm like, what's up with that? And you're just so angry and you're so bitter and you're so good at holding that emotion, because I've seen actors do all sorts of different things. And I've always admired an actor's ability to be able to stay in their own head, stay in their own craft, stay in their own method in that moment. You can hold and keep and capture that emotion. That was very cool. And
Well,
then switch it later.
I think, I mean, hopefully I could speak for many actors. The point of acting is just playing and being people that you aren't. Not that I want to be a jerk, but you know, like I mean, like my hardest role to date was on a Discovery ID show called Evil Lives Here. I booked the role of a serial killer. And like when you go to audition, how do you audition? Like I don't know how to be a serial killer. Only Fruit Loops. That's the only cereal I kill. You know. So when you go there, it's just like, you know, you're just thinking about all these dark things and people you hate and people that if you were allowed to, you know, smash their face against the wall when they wronged you. And so you get to play. You just play. You know, and that's what acting is, just playing and just, you know, just enjoying being someone else. So you can do that, you know, because I'm a relatively nice guy. I'm not, you know, I'm not that
Kind
guy.
of.
I have my moments, but no, it's just playing. You know, it's just really playing and just really, and if you can really have fun and just go to that place and just do it, and then while you're there, it gets easier. And when you're working with great actors, it just helps you do that. You know, because you just feed off great actors. So we were lucky we didn't get to pick our actors, but we got handed amazing actors for our project, so that helped with this whole thing. You know?
Just curious to ask you guys in the room that are here, just listening to this experience and doing it this way, where you don't get to pick people or you don't get to set certain parameters, does that still intrigue any of you, or does that scare you to participate in something like that? I'm just curious.
It's a bit of a challenge.
I
Sounds
like
interesting.
improv, so it'd be cool.
I think it's a serious challenge. That makes it all the more admirable, to tell you the truth, because you have so little to work with and you bring so much to the table because you want it so badly, and that means you're working harder because you have so little. Another reason to like it, that would make you...
I just think everyone should do a film challenge if, you know, I mean, if you're not at a level where wonderful, you know, blessed to be in a festival and you're newer in the career. Regardless, if you're not an actor, if you're just a filmmaker or you're a sound person, whatever your role is in this world, you should do a film challenge because it's just going to make you better. You know, it may not turn out to be the best thing in the world. We were very blessed that we got a great product at the end, but it doesn't. You win because you get to work with people and you're going to learn something from that challenge. And that's. I mean. You don't get handed. That's why it's called a challenge. Life is a challenge, you know. And but just before I forget, I wanted to. I never met Mela in person. We were friends on social media. And Mela, the last thing she wrote to me, this film won Best Dramatic Short in Florida in February, the first festival we ever submitted. We only submitted to a couple, but our first festival. And I got to go down to Florida and experience that whole thing. And right after we won, Mela, I'll save the message, and she wrote a nice message congratulating us on the film and everything. And to watch her, there's something eerie about that film. It's like it's kind of churning inside me. So I just wanted to give a shout out. And I have to make sure I write something in that book for her family because a terrible loss. She was on her way. She was really, truly super talented girl and on her way. So it's terrible. So yes, life is a challenge, but get involved in a film challenge. It will make you a better person. You will meet amazing people, and you have to work hard unless you're lucky to get handed shit in this business. So Eric, I want to hear Eric say something. Come on, Eric.
I'm getting to you, so if you don't want to say something, trust me. But before we get to you, I want to ask the question, because that was Central Park that you were shooting, right? The park scene.
No, that was Astoria Park.
It looked like Central Park for like 30 seconds.
We tried to not make it be Astoria Park because we're supposed to be in Manhattan, so we did our best with we got thrown out of the park too. I didn't get a permit.
I was just going to ask you about that, because you need to listen to this.
I didn't tell my girlfriend that we didn't get a permit because she's the one that is all, you know, together, and I'm just like, it's winter, the pool's closed, and we got thrown out of the park, so we had to
ask forgiveness and permission.
We didn't get to, and I didn't tell any of the actors because they're like, what do you mean? Because I don't care. I'm the guy that asks for forgiveness if we're not going to get thrown in jail. You know, get out of here. So we didn't get the turnaround on Samantha when she yelled, leave him alone, because we got thrown out. So I'm like, please just give us 5 minutes, please. And they gave us 5 more minutes, so we were able to just finish up what we needed to. But we had more stuff to shoot there, you know, with him and Sabrina. You know, when we had
You were helping the homeless for crying out loud.
I know. I'm like, this guy's homeless. Come on, we're trying to help him out. But the boom and the camera gave it away.
I was just curious about that because we had talked about that with American Fango when we were talking earlier because I thought it was important to point out the filmmakers because obviously, of course, one of the perils of New York City is everywhere you go, they're looking for permits. You can't go on the subway, you can't go here, you can't go there, which is my frustration. So I'm like, yeah, sometimes you have to cheat a lot and try not to get caught.
But it's not really complicated if you do. It's not really complicated. I have been at the governor's office of film to get permits to help out when I was producing on other projects. It's really not a complicated thing. In a film challenge, it's a very complicated thing because you can't get the approval before the film challenge. So I was like, I just didn't say anything. And I just, we went, and I'm like, all right, guys, we're meeting at the park. And we so we shot.
All right, Eric. So first question is, obviously, of course, we see the relationship pulled out between the two of you on screen here. So, you know, when Stephen is coming at you and he's hostile, and how do you, as an actor, do they prepare you for that? Meaning, like, he's going to have this scene, you're going to react this way, or do you just naturally react? Meaning, like, you go into your own head and think, okay, this guy's coming at me, he's a jerk, he's a jackass, whatever. How do you set that scene up in your head and play it out on screen?
No, I pretty much naturally reacted, but in fact, especially Kim tried to like tone me down because like my natural reactions were like this, you know. But she's like, "You don't have that much energy. You're slow. Everything's slow. Slow it down. Everything like weak. You know, you're weak. You don't have the energy. You haven't eaten in a while."
I just want to wait for that.